Hello, I want to thank you for your time this afternoon to spend 10 minutes presenting the birther case. I know you guys have heard a lot about it in the media. I would ask you to please put that aside and let me share some information during the course of what I can within the 10-minute allotted period, and also the information that has been collated today. If nothing else, introduce you to the information so that when you read it, you'll have a better understanding of what you're reading. And I want to drive home three main points. Before I get started, I think I should quickly introduce myself. My name is Rudy Davis. I was born in Dallas. The only thing that's important about me is that I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and I believe the Bible. So there's nothing really special about me except that God has put me in a particular position throughout the last 4.5 years where I have been able to meet a lot of the players in the birther movement personally, and I've interacted with them. And I'm familiar with people like Terry Lakin, who was a lieutenant colonel in the Army, and he stood up for the birther case, and he got sentenced to 6 months in Fort Leavenworth prison. And I actually attended his court-martial, and I've communicated with him back and forth a few times. So he's just he's a very brave man in the military. There's other people that are legal specialists like Orly Tates. Sheriff Joe Arpaio has came out public for the birther case from a law enforcement official perspective. There's pastors, many pastors that have come out in support of this. Pastor James David Manning, Pastor Carl Gallups, Pastor Wiley Drake, Pastor Stefan Broden, to name a few. There's subject matter experts that have written books and articles like Jerome Corsi, and he's a Harvard graduate. He's wrote a book called Where is the Birth Certificate? And Commander Kirchner, who runs a website called protectourliberty.org, and many of the articles that you have in your binder came from Commander Kirchner, who I consider a great man. Also in the law enforcement field, you have people like Sheriff Richard Mack, who's came out in support of the birther movement. And then you have people like myself, Mickey Booth, who Al Sharpton called the birther princess. And I should also say regarding, well, let me back up, okay? Because I spent a lot of time talking about people, but let's get back to the three facts that I would like to drive home before I leave you with this information. Keep in mind it takes about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to go through the information in this binder. And it may sound a little bit over dramatic, but I believe the very survival of this country depends on the decisions that will be resulting from this meeting. Okay, the 3 points. I'll just cover them real quickly and then we'll go into more detail. Point number 1, Obama is not a natural born citizen because his father was not a citizen at the time of his birth, nor did his father ever become a citizen throughout the course of his life. So when I say that, no matter what you've heard on the media, I'm telling you that it is absolute a fact that Obama's not a natural born citizen. Point number 2 is that Obama's birth certificate is a proven forgery. It's an absolute proven forgery, and there's Sheriff Joe Arpaio is leading that, along with other subject matter experts like Orly Tates, Mayor is the Best, and others that are familiar with the computer file industry and have published many other books in Adobe, which the reason I bring up Adobe is because the file is a PDF file, which is an Adobe file. Obama could have released a $20 birth certificate and saved Terry Lakin 6 months in prison, but he chose not to do that, and he waited till later, and he didn't even release a photo of his birth certificate. He released an Adobe PDF file, which was put together in a program called Adobe Illustrator, and it breaks it apart into multiple layers because it was compiled from different computer files instead of a photo of a single document. And I don't have time within my 10 minutes to go through why the document is image manipulated, but if you'll read, there's a DVD called the Sheriff's Kit in your binder, and the Sheriff's Kit has multiple videos that go through step by step on why the document that was released by Obama is a proven forgery. The other part of the birther movement is that Obama was born in Kenya. I will not talk a lot about that today. I'll just quickly say that I have put for you in the front of the binder Obama's own literary biography that he's been using since 1991 that says he was born in Kenya. So when you say these people are crazy or they're kind of off the wall when they say Obama was born in Kenya, it aren't these crazy people who's saying that Obama was born in Kenya. Obama himself claimed to be born in Kenya in his own literary biography that he used for over 16 years. And Andrew Breitbart, who came out and released that information, died of a heart attack, and his coroner, Andrew Breitbart's coroner Michael Cormier, was found dead of arsenic poisoning in his home in California. So that's just information, but I'm not going to talk about speculation or guesses today. So I'm not going to talk about Obama being born in Kenya. What I am going to talk about is Obama's not a natural born citizen, and Obama's birth certificate is a proven forgery. Not only that, but Sheriff Arpaio in his press conference also released information that his selective service card is absolutely a proven forgery as well. There's also issues with his social security number, which you have flyers on that as well. So let's go back to Obama's not a natural born citizen. So the reason I say that is there was two books that were very influential in when the framers and the founders put together our Constitution. Those two books were The Law of Nations, which I have a copy of right here, and I would like to read to you a paragraph from The Law of Nations, or at least a portion of that paragraph, and it's in chapter 19, section 212, and it says, you'll have a copy of this in your binder. The natives or natural born citizens are those born in the country of parents, plural, who are citizens. So it clearly defines natural born citizens as born on U.S. soil or the equivalent, and both your parents, plural, have to be American citizens at the time of your birth. Now, you say, well, how do we know that the Law of Nations was utilized by the founders? I've got a quote here that is marked in your binder. It's in the very first section, and I would like to read to you from Benjamin Franklin. He's talking about the Law of Nations. It came to us in good season when the circumstances of a rising state make it necessary to frequently consult the Law of Nations. The Law of Nations has continually been in the hands of the members of our Congress now sitting. So Benjamin Franklin certainly thought the Law of Nations was instrumental when they were developing the Constitution. Not only that, but I've got a letter written by John Jay in 1787 to George Washington. And John Jay writes this to George Washington: "Permit me to hint whether it not be wise and seasonable to provide a strong check to the admission of foreigners into the administration of our national government, and to declare expressly that the Commander-in-Chief of the American Army shall not be given to nor devolved on any but a natural-born citizen." John Jay specifically uses that phrase, natural-born citizen, which is used in Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5 of the Constitution. I've also provided you copies of the Constitution that are marked and highlighted. There's 3 different places I would like for you to pay attention to. One of them is Article 1, Section 8, Clause 10, which mentions the Law of Nations by name. It's in capital letters. The Law of Nations, the book itself, is actually brought out in our Constitution. The phrase natural-born citizen, as it applies to the President of the United States, is in Article 2, Section 1, Clause 5. And then Amendment 20, Section 3 says Congress may by law provide for the case when neither a president-elect nor a vice president shall have qualified. See, even though we have law enforcement officials like Sheriff Joe Arpaio, we have lawyers like Orly Tates, we have subject matter experts like Jerome Corsi and Commander Kirchner coming out in public with this information, it's not their responsibility. It's the responsibility of Congress. The second thing is that Obama's birth certificate is a proven forgery. I put the Mayor is the Best 10-page report in your binder. I've also included a Sheriff's Kit DVD. When you plug it in the computer, just run autoplay, and it will come up with various documents and videos of press conferences and subject matter experts in the computer file field. And you will see that the birth certificate has been proven to be a forgery. There's no doubt about it. In addition to the binders and the DVD, which focus on natural-born citizen and the fact that the birth certificate is a forgery, we have Mickey Booth, The Birth of Princess. She wrote a book, and she is a very well-known, righteous woman of God. I've met her personally and consider her a great Christian woman who stood up for the truth and with the courage of a lion. We have Jerome Corsi's book, Where is the Birth Certificate? And we have Terry Lakin's book, Officer's Oath. Okay, and he was sentenced to 6 months in Fort Leavenworth prison. I went to his court-martial and I saw that firsthand. We also have a book that's also written on why the birth certificate is a forgery, and I'll leave this with you as well. In closing, I'll say this. I would ask you to read Deuteronomy 17:15, indicating how important it is from a biblical perspective not to put a stranger as king over us. And that's exactly what I think America has done. Let me just close with this parting thought, and I appreciate your time today. I sincerely do. This is not about whether I'm credible. This is not about how good a presenter I am. I did my best to present the information in the 10 minutes that you've allotted me, and I know that I've gone over a little bit, and I appreciate the fact that you've endured me discussing this important issue with you. The same information was delivered to Alan West in a much more detailed way, and I'm sure that it was delivered in a much more professional way than I've been able to deliver to you today. Alan West's response was that he doesn't disagree with the information, but that it would hurt his next congressional run. So he didn't feel comfortable going public. The congressman claims that he is a good Christian man. I have no doubt that he is. I take him at his word on that. What we need is a congressman who actually cares that the president is not a natural born citizen, who actually cares that the president put out a forged birth certificate. See, I don't think it's a question about whether the president is natural born and that the president has put out a forged birth certificate. I know that those two things are fact. What's the most important thing about the outcome of this meeting is whether the congressman cares about those two things, because they are facts. And it's my desire and it's my prayer that the congressman will stand up and do what's right. And you say, what about the ramifications to the country? The ramifications for not standing up are far, far greater than if we stand up and correct it now. I believe the survival of our country, the very survival of our country, is at stake. Again, I thank you for your time today. I appreciate letting me go over a few minutes. And I pray only for the truth, which I believe is necessary for the survival of America. Thank you for your time.